So I want to start off by asking, who knows what swag is? Raise your hand. Okay, great. And raise your hand if you don't know what swag is. All right, well, I think at the end of my talk, you'll have at least my perspective of swag. So it's been my life's mission to help others find their swag and to also help me find mine. And I started Win the Room, which is a strategic communication company, because I wanted to help people to become better communicators. And so what is this thing that we call swag? It's like this je ne sais quoi quality. It's a mojo, it's magical, and it makes rock stars, prominent politicians, thought leaders who can change the world. But, you know, what is it? I mean, is it something that we can possess? And can the art of moving and influence others be something that we can have for ourselves? Well, absolutely yes. We can become the leaders that we are meant to be, and we can be irresistible to others. So you can learn how to influence a child to make a better decision, or how to run a more profitable and smart company. So we're all born with this incredible gift to express ourselves. I mean, if you think about it, a baby. Let's take a baby, and the baby is born with so much swag. Babies show their emotion in absolutely any way that they desire. But when parental and cultural habits kick in, that's when children lose their swag. So as they grow up, you know, they become very self-conscious, and this then creates like a communication barrier between them and the rest of the world. So how then can this be changed? Because it hinders their expression. And I know this from my own experience. It hindered mine. As a child, I was socially awkward. My mother, although very loving, was raised Victorian by nuns in a home. So I was always told, okay, children should be seen but not heard. Now try and tell that to a kid who has ADHD. It ain't working. I thought that I should be seen and heard. So in Catholic school, in grammar school, I used to talk a lot, and I would always get in trouble. And Sister Brutus, as I refer to her, I would get in so much trouble, and she would say, okay, stick out your hand. And she would have this ruler with a metal edge on it. And I would say, no way, I'm not doing it. And she would say, she called me little demon. And she would say, little demon, you stick out your hand now. And I'd say no. And she'd say, little demon, why can't you be more like Jesus? And I would say, fat chance, sister. So, you know, I think in order to feel whole as adults, we need to get back and learn how to communicate authentically. It's important. I mean, it's our birthright. So swag is about getting back and to that authentic communication that we had when we were babies. And it's letting go of these scripts that we're told. It's letting go of the habitual behaviors that we develop. So swag to me is our essence. It's who we really are. And it just makes you unique. I mean, it makes you stand out from the rest of the world. And I think that swag is in the moment. I think it's fresh, and it can never be repeated again, that moment. And that's where we want to be. So what's a big factor of swag? Energy. Energy is huge. Think about it. How do you feel listening to someone with very low energy, no vocal variety, and hardly any emotion? I don't know about you, but I get totally bored and I just want to run out of the room. So here's a tip. Think 20% more energy. Leaders operate on a higher frequency. And so, therefore, Negative emotions will always undermine your point. It will undermine your presence, your presentation. It operates on a very low level. So when you're giving a presentation, you are responsible for your audience. You are the host, and the audience is the guest. So as a host, how do we make you feel? Well, we make you feel good. We make you feel great. We make you feel trusted. We make you feel cared for. And most importantly, what everyone wants, we make you feel loved. And that's how you begin to connect. It's projecting outside of you. It's about you. It's about the other person. So, the moment you walk outside of your door, public speaking is unnatural. We all do it. Public conversation occurs with coworkers, managers, in meetings, to shareholders, to the barista at Starbucks, absolutely to everyone that we encounter during the day. So the thing about it is that getting to your swag and getting to where that you can connect with people, then we begin to create the soulful connections. And this is the difference between success and failure, between marriage and divorce, between having a healthy relationship without children or having a damaged one. So, but yet, knowing this is not enough. So there are millions of people who really struggle with the fear of speaking in public. And how then do we begin to make that transition? So your voice and your body are instruments, and you need to take care of them. They need to be fine-tuned, or else, without proper training, you'll always end on a bum note. So there's no question. In order to be credible, you must have logical, excellent content. But it's been proven over and over again that emotions move people. Emotions sell products. Emotions sell ideas. Think about it. Emotional marketing, Christmas, Tiffany's, beautiful diamonds, Santa Claus, Valentine's Day. Hell, that's all emotional marketing. So now, if we look at it, in this way, emotions are a lifeline. We need them. We need them to connect with people. So to me, and that's swag. So think about it. Influential speakers like Steve Jobs, or maybe someone that you even know in your personal circle, and they connect on a very soulful level. So most times, we don't remember exactly what they said, but we remember the experience and we recall how we felt during that time. So they use certain emotions, as I talked about before, to convey their content. And it's their passion that inspires us. It's soulful. So Maya Angelou, she says, people will forget what you said, forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So public speaking of this caliber now, it does command tremendous focus and energy to get back to this level of authentic communication. So an impressive speaker, they motivate us through a wide use of emotions. And I'd like to talk to you about a good friend of mine, Aristotle. Now, some people refer to James Brown as being the godfather of soul, and I refer to Aristotle as being the godfather of swag. So he knew and he understood that public speaking was a discipline. And the worst time to learn your swag, the worst time to learn how to communicate authentically and be in the moment is when you needed it most, when you were under the gun. So in ancient Athens, there were no lawyers. And if you were convicted of a crime, so let's say if someone accused you wrongfully of going into their home and stealing food, well, you would have to speak in front of the entire Senate, no lawyers, just you, and you would have to convince them that you were innocent. Now, if you were found guilty, you die, your family dies, and maybe your whole community dies. Well, I don't know about you, but I would really try and get on their good side. I'd make them feel really good, happy, loved. Yeah, you can trust me. So in Aristotle's time, swag meant life or death. So then some of these methods, they can be developed for winning arguments. And Aristotle created a few. And I'll talk about 3 of them: ethos, logos, and pathos. Have you heard about them? Okay, well, ethos refers to your credibility, your character. How credible are you? And logos refers to the logic of your content. Is it making sense? And then pathos, which is my favorite, it refers to emotion. How well are you moving people? How well do you move people emotionally? And that really comes into play when you're telling a story. Narratives. There's lots of pathos in narratives. So if we are to develop our swag to its fullest point, we need to get back to this place, because now in today's competitive environment, we need this type of eloquence. It's highly competitive now. So with that, it's important to know who your audience is. Who are they? What do they value? What do they want? What do they care for? And it's important to know why they need it. What are the obstacles there? Why do they want it? And then it's the how, which is very important. How will you go about delivering whatever you're delivering to your audience? And with the how, we generally use emotions. Well, I'm going to convince you this way, or I'm going to convince you that way. So it can be, story is very good, and it can be a story of how something challenged you. Narratives are very powerful. Or it could be about a person or a product that made a huge difference in your life. So people will become more open and receptive to stories. They identify with them. Stories are primal. I mean, they've been with us since the beginning of time. As children, we've all heard stories and we all looked forward to them. We're adults and we still love stories, absolutely. So I heard a story once about an exchange student in Japan. And this exchange student was scheduled to speak in front of a group of Japanese business people. And he was preparing his presentation in English, but he didn't know Japanese. And he just wanted to perfect, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen," in Japanese. And so he tried, and he thought, okay, I got it. So the day of his presentation, he goes in and he says, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen," in his best Japanese. And then he's doing his presentation and everyone's loving it, and he gets a thunderous applause after it. Curiously, someone comes up to him later and they said, "I really liked your presentation, but I am kind of curious about one thing. Why did you say, 'Good morning, toilets and urinals'?" So now, okay, it's a serious blunder, right? I mean, it can be like on biblical proportion. But what got him out of that? His swag, right? His swag. His swag got him a free get-out-of-jail card. So once we emotionally connect with an audience, we begin to stir the imagination and create a positive environment, thus lifting spirits. And that's what we want to do as speakers, as leaders, as connectors, as parents, as managers. We want to inspire. So if you're excited and passionate when you express yourself, then people will be more invested in you, and they'll be more invested in what you have to say. So regardless of how great your content is, if you're not passionate about your message, right, it will land flat, goes into nowhere land. So how do we influence people then? One example that we turn to illustrate these points is a leader with sweeping communication skills. Any successful politician knows if you want to get the vote, that you have to motivate people. You have to make them feel safe, important, trusted. So my experience of this was after a full day of museum going in DC, my 2 daughters and I afterwards had dinner in a restaurant. And so all of a sudden, this tremendous presence is in the room. And we turn around, and here's this person, arms outstretched, saying hi to everyone, embracing the room. So at this point, all eyes are on him. Meals are secondary, but his eyes were on one table. He comes over. He introduces himself to us. And we have this chat with him, and we're feeling really good. And, you know, he made us feel like we were his best friend. And he was the host, and we were the guest. And so many years have passed since that moment, but I will never forget how we got into this conversation about the 18th century Spanish painter Francisco Goya, and we talked about the naked and clothed Maja. So what is it that Bill Clinton had? Swag, wouldn't you say? Okay, I mean, he's likable, definitely. I mean, and in the public's eye, he's made mistakes, but one of the things that has given him an easier time is the swag, just like the Japanese student. So there you go. And most importantly, I felt that he was really interested. He just didn't act interested. So swag is available for everyone. There are many different sizes. You just have to find yours. So Martin Luther King had swag. Wouldn't you agree? JFK had swag. Tupac had swag. And I think Oprah has swag. I think Ellen DeGeneres has swag. Would you agree on that? You might have your own version of who has swag, but that's my version of it. So even some of the greatest speakers in the world, like Winston Churchill, he had a stammer. I don't know if you know that. He stuttered very badly. And so he would have to go out and give these tremendous speeches to the world. And one of the things that he learned how to do was something called phrasing. And this he would do it was in a poem form. And he would write the speeches in a poem form, and then it would be one phrase, the next phrase, the next phrase. So I'm going to say a sentence of his, and I'm just going to say it normally, and then I'm going to say it again, how he said it, and you'll hear the difference, I hope. That this nation under God, of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. That this nation under God, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Right? It's taking that moment in between that makes us say, okay. So this technique helped him get into history. So Laurence Olivier, Katharine Hepburn, they all had their times when they felt uncomfortable, but it was their technique that brought them through. So it's not learning how to be an actor. It's not that at all, because acting is taking on another character. I mean, we're talking about personal development. We're talking about you coming back to this place of authentic communication. So now keep in mind that you will always be your biggest critic, right? You'll always have those negative voices in your head, but you need to start replacing them with really positive ones. And remember, it only takes 21 days to start a new habit. Did you know that? You can undo a whole lifetime of stuff in just 21 days. I think that's amazing. You can all pay me now. So anyway, I think that once this happens, a lot of good things happen. I mean, you're breathing, you're not as nervous anymore, you're breathing normally, you're feeling calm, you're really expressing your passion. So I'd say you must truly believe in yourself, your message, and you've got nothing to lose except everything to gain. And that's swag.